Welcome to the World United. Welcome to the World United.
Brenda Crompton. She is a guide and mentor to entrepreneurs and business leaders. Now, Brenda, let me read a little bit about her for your edification here, so we know a bit about her before she steps into her speech. Childhood poverty, homelessness, and daily abuse might stop most people, but Brenda Crompton found a way to turn her life around. Living on welfare while finishing high school, selling products door to door, and surviving on $10 a week whilst achieving her university degree, Brenda turned adversity into success. And by the time she was 30, she had a six-figure consulting business and had completed more than $1 million in real estate transactions. Now, a business turnaround expert, Brenda's strength and insights are the driving forces behind the transformations of organizations, large and small, helping them achieve new heights by integrating innovation, marketing, and advanced technologies. Brenda's unforgettable story of turning pain into gain will educate, entertain, and inspire. You may never look at your future the same way again. We are thrilled to have Brenda Crompton here speaking to us on the topic, the true story of forgiveness and the difference it makes. So without further ado, I now invite Brenda to take the floor. Welcome, Brenda.
Hi, Sean. Thank you.
Yes, I'm going to disappear and let you take it away.
Okay. I'm about to share a story and techniques that I used as a young person that allowed me to achieve a life beyond my wildest imagination. The first part is to survive. And whatever is going on that seems like it's too much in your life, you can survive, like I did when I was 3 and 8 and 12 and 16 and all the years in between. You just take one day at a time and keep going. And so to the young child inside of you, please hear me now. Surviving is the first step on the path to winning. The second step is to forgive and move past it. And this is what I'm talking to you about today. So how do you forgive? You know how you're so angry you can't believe that they did that thing to you? To you. You lost something because of them. Maybe at a moment when you can be really honest with yourself, you choke with the pain of that loss. That was all because of them. Maybe you want to choke them, not literally, but somewhere inside that idea of them losing something too. It seems real. It seems needed. That tension, that resentment, it lives in the body, in our body. And we carry it with us unless we do something else. We carry it until as time goes by, one day, maybe then you realize that the one that you're choking is actually yourself. So how then in your darkest hour do you rise above your feelings and the situation and open your heart and truly forgive, let go, and move on? It's simple, but it's not easy. Maybe you're wondering, why would you forgive someone? They did something unforgivable, and that may be true. But forgiveness is not about forgetting what happened and acting like everything is as it was before that thing, whatever they did. It is not fully accepting the other person back into your life like nothing happened. No, that's not what I'm talking about. It is important to learn from whatever happened and to set strong boundaries to ensure that you don't have to deal with their problems or those problems in the future. So, my message to you is that forgiving is not for them, it is for you. The forgiveness that I'm referring to is for yourself, to give yourself a higher quality of life. Because holding on to that grudge or resentment is like giving yourself a 50-pound boulder to carry around on your back or wherever it is that you feel it in your body for the rest of your life. And for me, that's too much sacrifice. My attitude is I've already lost enough of my life because of what happened in the past. I'm not going to lose any more in the future. So stop, relax the hold, and choose life starting now. Notice the feel beneath your feet, the touch of fabric on your skin, the scent in the air. Choose life. Breathe, relax. Let me tell you my story of the power of forgiveness so that you can clearly believe that it is important, no matter how big or small that resentment that you may holding on to is. This is the true story of the difference forgiveness can make. So I spent 4 years living in a foster home on a farm next to an amazing piece of nature from age 8 to 13. The foster family themselves were horrid abusers, and the things done to me are beyond most people's imagination, according to many of my therapists. I was literally beaten by hundreds of people during that time. And as I recovered from that trauma as a teenager, I began to become accustomed to walking through fear, which I called walls of fire. As I taught myself to become a functional person in the world. And despite all of this learning and growing that I did, I found that in my early 20s, I was having horrid recurring nightmares about that place. I tried many different mainstream techniques to move past the nightmares, but they continued. The nightmares, they disrupted my life, and they took me back into the past where I didn't want to be. I knew these nightmares, they had to stop. I had goals and dreams of how my future would become, and these nightmares, they were getting in the way. So I spontaneously went back to the foster home one Saturday. And I saw my foster father, who was actually home. Thankfully, the foster mother wasn't there. She was the primary abuser. And so that made it easier to reframe the whole situation and forgive them. But I didn't tell them I forgave them. That was none of their business. Standing there beside my foster father, I walked through that house. I looked into the bathroom where so much shame and abuse was planted in my little girl back then by them. I walked through the living room where they taught me that I was worthless and did not deserve nice things. I stood in the kitchen where wooden objects were broken against my skull as I tried to learn. And while standing there in that house, in that place where things happened to my little girl self that were horrid, unimaginable, inhumane, and should never have happened, I released the trauma and I forgave them. I forgave the place. I quietly, shyly showed the foster father my car phone that I had in 1989. Very few people had those. I told him that I got a university degree. And I told him of my successful technology business. And these were all achievements that the foster mother told me that I would never have. She was wrong. I deeply exhaled the trauma in that moment. The nightmares stopped immediately, and life became a grander experience. Miracles happened, and opportunities opened up in front of me. However, and in addition, and most amazingly, 10 years later, a youth center arrived on that land in that exact location. Right now, today, even, there is a 4-year program where they teach inner city youth how to have an amazing life. Huh. In that very place where they took me, an inner city youth, and robbed me of my self-respect, took possession of my body, my spirit, my physical and mental health, and my confidence. Now they take inner city youth there to learn self-respect, love, physical and mental health, and how to become confident, contributing members of society. And it's a 4-year program, just like a mirror of my experience there. It seems crazy. But when I visited there only a few years ago, I sat on the new dock with my feet in that pond that I had swam in as a child, and I meditated on the place. It felt so good now. And as an adult, being among the trees and nature that helped me survive when I was young, I imagined the land and the forest giving me a hug to welcome me back. It was amazing. So now what I want to do is I'm going to lead you through some techniques for how you can decide to forgive and release that tension that we feel, that animosity towards those people that did us wrong. You can release that for good. Consider these techniques as a form of meditation and even in addition to your meditation practice. And if you do not have a meditation practice, please consider adding one. Meditation is highly regarded as very healthy for the brain, as we're able to relax our parasympathetic nervous system and calm the 3 main parts of our brain. And if prayer is comfortable for you, consider adding this to your prayer practice, as prayer can be considered a form of meditation too. So here's what you do. All by yourself, sit in a calm state with no interruptions. And first, think about, where do you feel that resentment in your body? Really get in touch with it. Speak out loud to it if you want, as if it were separate from yourself. And pause. Breathe deeply into it. Consider all the ways that this resentment has affected you in your life. How does it hold you back? Then take a piece of paper and write down a list of things that you did, but you didn't want to do, but you did it because of this resentment. Take the time, all the time you need, and write down that list. Then on a new piece of paper, write down a list of the things that you did not do, but you really wanted to, but you didn't because of the resentment. And write those things down. Then let's go back to the stress in your body. Consider this stress that is caused by carrying around the resentment, which is often in either our back or our gut, or it could be both. And then decide, is this something that you really want to do for the rest of your life or for the next period of time? Did you know that you can actually decide that because I'm so mad, I'm going to carry this around, but by this end date, you can just pick a date, whatever one pops first into your mind. It doesn't have to be very long, but just decide, by this date, I'm going to forgive and drop the resentment. Once you have made that decision to let go, here's some ideas for how to do it. You can write on a piece of paper, I now release all resentment and grudge against the person, place, or situation that happened for you. And just write it on a piece of paper and then burn it. Imagine that release as you watch the flames engulf the paper. You can talk out loud to the resentment or grudge. Tell it, thank you for serving you to this point, and now you're ready for it to return to the light. And use your imagination to watch it leave. You can breathe deeply and exhale it by relaxing your body, especially in the area where you identified you feel that grudge is in your body. You can reframe the whole situation, reframe it so that story is empowering to you. That's what I did. When I decided that the foster parents, instead of being evil incarnated on this planet, that they were just stupid and poor and uneducated, and they didn't know what they were doing. And for me, that was the easiest way to forgive. You can ask your angels to help you release the grudge from your body and wish it on its way. You can actually create a physical bag of rocks, as many as you can just barely carry. Put them in a bag, label it my grudge, carry it around for a while, and then set it down or dump it out in symbolism with a big exhale. The bottom line is forgiveness is for you. Forgiveness is not a gift to them. It is a gift for yourself. Forgiveness is important, no matter how small or huge the loss was to you, because we don't want that loss to continue to take more from us as we move through life. The best way, in my opinion, to prove them wrong is to move past the pain and create an amazing life. Show yourself for all the amazing value that you bring to life. Choose life, your life. For me, I was losing so much of my current life. I had already paid such a high price. By the time I was ready to release the hatred, I simply was able to deeply exhale it. Life is so much lighter once we have forgiven, especially for the worst of the betrayals and hurts. The past is to be remembered, to inform our future choices, not to freeze us there. Stop choking out your future. Forgiveness is transformation. Thank you.